already took mine. Already heaved mine down.
The tree just skirts above the knees. It's the place it all gets diseases.
There you go. Forgot about that. That's what I experienced a few minutes ago when I did it. I remember the first time I took my first shot. I only got about 15 shots of Fireball to take tonight.
I'll get you with that one.
Got the wrong place.
He's in the right place.
The right place, wrong place.
Oh, God. Oh, you sexy lady, man. Gotta swallow that shit, not inhale it.
Yeah, no. Aspiration's not too good with that one. Not Dr. Recommend.
No, definitely not.
At least it's good to know you guys are ball fans. I work
Well,
with
some
kids,
of
so
us.
it's good. Here we go.
About that time. Yo, Howard Stern. That's how you had to do it. You had to turn the microphone around to the backside. There you go. Go ahead, turn the volume up, ladies, and the bass on high. Grant, you still ain't seen that, have you? The Howard Stern movie?
No, it's a classic. 90s. That was my time.
All right, here we go.
Game face.
T minus.
What up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the Man Crap Podcast, coming at you live from the Blackout Tent Company studio.
Man, crap.
What's up, suckers?
What it is, what it is.
How's everybody doing?
What's up, everybody? Today is the day. Today's a special day.
Dr. Grayson's in the house.
Yo, yo, yo.
Special day. Special day. Yeah.
I'm going to be telling some crazy stories.
Got a few of them lined up.
Uh-oh.
Wife was even reminding me of a few to bust out.
ER stories, man. We all
Some juicy ones.
love a good, juicy story.
Foreign objects.
Oh,
Several of those.
I like those. Those were the top questions on the list.
This video, I interviewed the mother and stepfather of Sebastian Rogers.
Sorry.
All right, yeah,
Yeah,
we're not.
that's later. That's later.
Yeah, we're not. That's for the news.
Yeah, that's for later.
All right, so, what's everybody got going on? You think I go good?
Yeah, what y'all do for St. Patrick's Day this last weekend?
St. Patrick's Day. I just did my game, my little TikTok game.
That's all you did?
That's all I really did. Birthday for the grandson, Chuck E. Cheese, Sunday morning.
No.
Went to little Chuck E. Cheese, played some skee ball.
Jesus.
Little skee ball. Rode the motion coaster.
With the mixed match pizza, you gotta be careful with that though.
Oh yeah, I've
Just
seen that.
get the
I've seen that.
get the supreme cardboard. Nothing like it.
Did you have to eat it? Did you eat it crust first?
I did not do
Oh,
it crust
no.
first. I did not. Matter of fact, I got rid of most of the
The
crust.
heck pizza.
The heck pizza.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. I was telling Grayson what we did for the top. I couldn't remember what we did for the top 10, but it was the top 10 things that you were experiencing like hell.
Like hell. Called a heck. If you were in heck.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You got to go back and
I can
watch
think of a
that.
few of them.
Yeah, you have to go back and watch that
Yeah.
one, man. It was pretty good. It was a
Yeah.
good one. It was a good one.
It was. It was.
Grayson, what'd you do for St. Patrick's Day?
I was working.
Oh,
Yeah, as usual.
was it was it a crazy night in the emergency room?
I'm a day shift guy normally, so I
Okay.
see the daytime stuff.
Right,
Now,
right,
normally on holidays, it's more like the 3-4 o'clock in the morning ones. You know, the 4th of July, the St. Patty's, the drunk fall downs, bust my head opens.
Yeah, blow your hand off with a firecracker.
Yeah. Oh God, don't even get me started on 4th of July. Every year you get one.
Oh,
You
yeah.
get one. He's
There's
always
at least
the
one.
fingers. Yeah, there's always one.
Okay, let's not get started. Let's not go home. Slow down, sucker. Slow down. We're gonna get to it. All right. Slow down.
He's a hold the phone.
Grant, did you do anything on St. Patrick's Day?
No, I don't really celebrate St. Patrick's Day that big. You know?
Why don't
It's
you?
not that big to me.
It's not that big deal to you.
I don't know.
Just never really been a thing.
No, yeah, I haven't really ever done anything crazy for it or anything like that.
It was kind of surprising to be out and about in the general public, and I even pointed out to my wife that nobody really said Happy St. Patrick's Day to you.
Yeah.
And then finally, one guy did it, or one kid did it. It was a kid in Walmart, and she turned around at me. She goes, "There, are you happy now?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm happy."
It's definitely died down, man. Like you said, it's since COVID and all that
it's-
shenanigans. It's.
I think a lot of it's got to do with the way they market things at Walmart and stores like that. They jump the gun and skip holidays.
Yeah.
I mean, you go from what, 4th of July to Christmas.
Yep.
What the hell happened to Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Halloween. All
Yeah,
those
they do
things.
it
I
always.
mean, they do a little Halloween, but I mean, by the time you got a couple costumes out for a few weeks and shit's done, they got 80,000 boxes of candy left, and Santa Claus shit's out.
Yeah. And then it's Easter, Memorial Day, 4th of July.
Yeah.
All rinse, right, and repeat.
And then it's Christmas again.
Yeah.
Damn, it's next week we're gonna have Christmas stuff out at Walmart.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I've probably already ate a whole bag of Reese's eggs.
eggs, the peanut butter eggs. Those
Can't
are the
deny
best.
that.
Yeah,
Can't deny that.
those are fire.
Yeah, they are.
Those
They
are the best. Yeah,
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
I love some Reese's peanut butter.
So we went to the scoreboard, and it
Scoreboard,
was-
Opryland, no Opryland.
Yeah, it was off the chain. I mean, it was standing room only, and there it was crazy, man. The
Last time
band
I went
was
there, a while
awesome.
back. It was good. I like it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good fun.
They have a good
fun.
band there playing.
Yeah. For some reason, I can't remember the name of the band, but they are awesome.
Just
They're
little
there
local
every
bands is usually what they got in there.
Sunday. Yeah, they're there every Sunday.
Every Sunday they play.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and they drew a crowd. It was jammed up.
It was nice weather too, so that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Got people out and about and doing shit.
Finally, I'm tired of the cold, man.
I heard that.
Yeah, it was good fun, man. It's a birthday party too. Connie Christopher,
Oh man,
good friends of ours.
the little wraparound party.
It was. It was a lot of fun.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go home and play my game tonight.
What game you been playing?
I've been playing on TikTok. I haven't. Me and my wife created a game on TikTok, and we allow everybody to play, and they get to win prizes, money, T-shirts.
I see.
It's a fun little time. People like doing it, enjoy it. But we're going to talk about something that we've been discussing. And it's been the topic of the conversation here for quite some time now. Sebastian Rogers.
Yeah, y'all bear with me because I'm experimenting with this new video play thing on here, so we can play the video and stop it and talk about it. So just bear with me here while I get this going.
If we can get this thing timed out just right to where we want to play at. You guys, I'm going to point something out to you that's going to make you scratch your head.
Scratch my head, huh?
Scratch your head. It's going to make you go home and go,
All right, where do I need to go
We're on a
to?
constant roller coaster ride.
I need on the first video, I need to right around the 220 mark.
220.
220 mark is when she starts talking about what she did that morning when she discovered Sebastian wasn't in the house.
He's like, he may just be, are we in the shower?
I took a
In the living
second.
room?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband and I said, I can't find him. Up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes.
That repeated
About
itself there. Go ahead and you can pause it right there.
3 minutes.
Basically what she said she did that morning when she got up was she walked through the house and looked everywhere for Sebastian. And within 3 minutes time frame, she was on the phone with her husband, letting him know that Sebastian was not in the house. The husband again reiterated her, well, check all the hiding little places that he does, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. He's not in the house. We're going to call the police. Within 5 minutes, the police are there. Now, if we go to video 2,
A 15-year-old who vanished from Hendersonville, Tennessee
we need to go to
on
about the
February
350 mark on video 2.
Whoops.
The 350 mark of video 2 is basically the same question.
Can't find
What did
him.
you
And
do
he
that
said,
morning?
what do you mean? I said, he's not in this effing house. I can't find our son. And I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood.
Bingo.
I drove over by the school. And he
Different story.
Suspect.
I jumped in my car and I drove around the block. Then I called my husband.
Well, she didn't say that in the first video.
She damn sure didn't.
Mm.
How you gonna forget that?
Imposter.
Yeah.
Call him out. Call him out for what it is. Call him out for what it is.
I mean, she's in distress.
Call him out. Hey,
I'm
nah,
gonna-
bullshit. Call him out for what it is.
I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt. She's in distress.
6 of one, half a dozen of another. I'm kind of in the middle on that one. We'll see.
Nah.
You need
Yeah.
some little more behavior.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence now too. I was kind of on them, like they did it. But you know, the more I look into the trafficking, the child trafficking thing that's going on,
There's a lot of that going
a
on.
lot of it going on.
What did we count? 23 kids since
23
August last
kids
year?
since March of last year.
March of last year. March.
23 teenagers
Is that
missing
in Tennessee?
in Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee.
Yeah,
Middle Tennessee.
I believe it.
23 children missing since March of last year.
So we got a spree of
Now, granted,
people
you're
out
going to
there.
have a handful of runaways. You're going to have
Yeah,
a handful of those that may
yeah.
have an addiction problem that are hiding out somewhere and get caught up into that realm. And
Yeah, so there was just an arrest made 5 days ago, which is not making the news is not talking about it
Media,
very
yeah.
much.
don't want to
I
draw
mean,
attention
you
to
can
it.
Google it, you can search it, it's there. There was an arrest made where 12 teenage girls of Hispanic descent were found in a hotel in Murfreesboro for sex purposes. They were found there. So it's happening. Now, they did say that he did not have any social media. He wasn't on the computer. Bullshit. You gonna tell me that a teenager did not have any access to any kind of internet or any way to chat with somebody on the internet? They're savvy enough to figure that out.
There's ways around it. Absolutely.
Man, that shot still affected me, man. Yeah, I think, I mean, there's a good possibility that he was chatting with somebody. They told him to come outside, lock the door behind him, bring flashlight, don't wear shoes so you don't make any noise. Lock the door behind you. Came outside, they took him. But
No video surveillance going out of the house. No scent being tracked by the dogs outside the house.
And I mean, I'm not trying to say the parents are not completely at fault here, but I think at some point in that situation, in the medical field, we call it respite breaks, where people just want to stop and not take care of the person that they're taking care of. And so sometimes you might have that situation where they just hesitated a little bit longer than they should have. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not saying that they did anything wrong, but they might have initiated a fine sooner. And it's just, kids being kids kind of situation.
Yep. Yeah. It's.
Slippery slope.
Yeah,
I do hope we find out
Yeah.
what happened. I mean, I hope it's not like another little Joe.
we'll find out one day.
Yeah. Well, we never found out about little Joe. So I mean, I hope we do find out. So
We got a pretty good suspicion. There's a 55-gallon drum somewhere with him in it.
I hope not. I hope not. I really do.
Pray it's not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So I think our little video thing kind of worked out. Yeah,
It did work
That
out.
was a new little thing. So
But yeah, that was when I listened to that second one there yesterday and heard her say that, and then I remembered her never mentioning that in the first video.
Never mentioning going to the school at all.
Never mentioned getting in the car and leaving the house.
Yeah.
I mean, you would not mention that.
yeah, as a parent, I think I would know every second.
Here's what I
Every
did.
little
You know.
detail.
And
Yeah.
she cannot. I brought this up before. As a mother of an autistic child and everything that she's been through raising that child, as hard as it was on her, for her to be able to sit there and reminisce any memories of him at all, and not sob, weep, not be
Right.
able to catch her breath, tears running down her, nothing.
And I'm pretty sure there was a laugh or a smirk or a smile somewhere in there between the
There
mom
was.
or the dad. I
There
don't
was,
remember.
there was.
yeah,
Several.
yeah. I mean, they do look suspect.
I
will
like
say
the
that.
mom.
They do look suspect.
The mom pointed
look
out one thing about him and said something about, and a fun fact.
Right.
A fun fact.
Yeah, but I mean, the research that I've done, that child traffickers are trained to make it look like somebody else did it.
Certainly.
They are trained to make it look like the parents did it or somebody else kidnapped them.
And they're smart,
Oh, yeah.
clever.
Yeah. So, I'm not ruling out anything until I find out the truth. You know what I mean? So, y'all see the new training video from Jake Paul?
No.
Yeah.
What does it look
See,
like? It's a little. Is he?
Yeah.
He got some funky moves, don't he?
Man, he's getting
He's getting it.
Man, he's getting it, man.
Mike Tyson should be scared.
He's be scared.
Shitless right
He's be
now.
scared right now.
Uh
He's be
oh.
scared.
Uh oh. Uh
Yeah,
oh.
few of us here
I
remember the
can't.
real Mike Tyson.
All
the
right,
fresh
y'all
out of
ready
jail
for this?
Mike Tyson.
Y'all ready for this?
I can't. I want to see this. What are you gonna do in the ring right here?
He's looking beast right here.
This is what he's gonna do in the ring. Here it goes.
He's looking beast.
I threw a wish in the well. Don't ask me, I'll never tell. I looked to you as it fell, and now you're in my way. I trade my soul for a wish, pennies and dimes for a kiss. I wasn't looking for this, but now you're in my way. Your stare was holding, ripped jeans, skin was showing. Hot night, wind was blowing. Where you think you're going, baby?
up on you there, but yeah, you get the gist of it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it just freezes up on our end. I don't think it
Doing a
freezes
little
up on-
fairy boy dancing,
Yeah, yeah. That's it. He was training me.
training
That's
exercises,
his training.
hip movement, and footwork.
Yeah,
Moving
He should be
forward.
dancing to Footloose.
yeah. That's his training regimen.
That's his theme song is Footloose.
Yeah. I thought I'd share that. Training video.
Oh,
Yeah, top 10.
oh.
Top 10. All right, top 10 tonight. I went down a rabbit hole with this top 10.
Rabbit holes.
Yeah. Like, we're going to continue this top 10.
Did you see
probably.
Bugs Bunny?
Alice in Wonderland.
No, I didn't. So we're going to probably continue this top 10 on Friday.
Uh-oh.
That is how deep I got into this top 10.
Did you find more than just 10?
I did, man. I did. This top 10 goes deep.
Deep.
This is top 10 questions
Top 10 questions.
that have never been answered.
Questions that have never been. Top 10 questions.
Top 10 questions
that have never been
that
answered.
have never been answered. That are going to be answered today.
All right, let's do it.
Before we leave.
You bet that one question I seen you have in there, you better have the damn question that I should be number one.
Well, I don't know if it's number one.
They would have to be.
I didn't really rank them.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Listen, if y'all hear me coughing, before we started this thing, it still affected me. I took another shot of that 111, right? And it went down the wrong pipe.
Windpiped it.
I sucked it down into my
He
lungs.
inhaled.
I almost
the shot.
drowned on 111
Bill Clinton.
proof. Fucking.
It's a good thing we got a doctor in the house.
And man, like it's still affecting me. So if I turn around to cough, it's because I have
An emergency trach,
111 proof whiskey in my lungs.
Aspiration.
So yeah, don't pay attention to me. I don't have emphysema or anything. It's just 111 proof whiskey in my lungs. All right, here we go.
Top 10. Number 10.
Number 10. What do aliens think of us?
Oh,
Rick, what do you think?
What do aliens think of us?
Yeah.
I think that they think we're dumb creatures.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Okay.
I totally concur with that. I feel like, you know, how you have those Sinhalese people that are just on the island and still in the Stone Age, and we just kind of watch them. I feel like that's what they're doing with us. And until the moment we like get faster than light travel or some sort of technology that can even threaten them, they're just kind of watching us.
Yep.
And just laughing and really stealing our cable, because I think that's the funny thing to them is they watch our TV and our movies. But I don't know. It's just my guess.
They like our sitcom.
Yeah. That's it.
I can see them up there watching some sitcom.
Yeah.
Reality TV, you know, Real Housewives, all that stuff.
Grant?
Yeah, I definitely don't think that we're smarter than them or anything like that. I think they're just making fun of us.
Yeah.
They're just trolling.
I mean, I think that we're their entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just up there.
We're a giant movie screen to them.
making fun
The
of
Simpsons,
us.
man. The Simpsons always have had it best. They always, you know, where they were stealing the cable and just laughing up in their spaceship. That's exactly how.
They're just totally just making fun of us. Yeah, we're the butt of every joke. Yeah.
Butt jokes.
when they're all of their jokes are about humans.
Yeah.
All right, number nine. They get better, I promise. Is it better to be smart or be lucky? Rick.
I'm gonna go with lucky.
Okay, why?
I didn't really think about it. I just chose one.
All right, well, you got to be logical about it.
Let's see here. Well, sometimes you can be just too damn intelligent, and it still doesn't get you what you want. If you're lucky, you just get lucky.
Okay.
I would have to go a little more smart on this one. I feel like you can kind of put yourself in some more advantageous situations if you're smart. But, I mean, sometimes luck of the draw, you know, even in medicine we talk about it a lot because, you know, you live your life perfect and you end up with cancer. Like, you know, you don't smoke, you don't drink, you don't do anything, and you just have bad luck.
Yep.
So it's a tough one, but I would put more eggs in a smart than I would luck.
I think
Right.
lucky, because if you're lucky, you know, everything's just going to fall in your lap anyways. You're not going to really have to be smart. If you're lucky.
You can be dumb as shit as long as you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I agree with Grant. I was going the other way, but that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go lucky. I was leaning towards smart, but yeah, I like that, Grant. You don't have to be smart. Okay, I like that. Yeah, lucky. Okay, I'm going with lucky.
Ocho.
All right, here we go. Next. This one's kind of dumb, but I had to put it in here because I have this debate all the time. Does pineapple go on pizza?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay, me too. I like it too. Okay, what does it go with? What do you eat it with?
Ham.
Pineapple and ham.
Ham, bacon.
Pineapple ham.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hawaiian,
some other
Hawaiian
meat.
pizza.
Yeah.
Pineapple
Because
meat.
some people are like, oh, gross, pineapple.
Oh no,
pizza."
that's awesome.
I was kind of hoping that one of
But you got to eat it when
one
it's
of
hot.
you guys would
You
be
gotta
like,
eat it when it's
"Ooh,
hot.
no."
You cannot wait till it gets cold. It's not as
Kind of
good.
gives you a little sweet and salty kind of thing
But
going
it's
on.
only really within the realm of the Hawaiian. There's no
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
You're not really eating it outside of that.
No extra toppings. I'm gonna add pineapple to my
Exactly.
supreme.
Never.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that one of you guys would be like, oh, no pineapple. Everybody's like, yes. Okay, cool. We'll get down. All right, pineapple on pizza. Okay. Here we go. Okay, next. Is it better to have a superpower or be super rich?
Ooh, the age-old Batman or Superman question.
Superpower.
Agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, superpower, and I would want to have like invisibility or something like that.
Okay.
Mind reading.
Okay. We're gonna get to that. That's coming up. I'm gonna say superpower.
Yeah.
Superpower.
It's hard to turn.
If I got a superpower, I can be super rich because I can go just take all the money.
Facts.
That's true. That's true. Notice that I got the guy with the superpower holding up the rich guy. Like,
Shaking his pockets.
He's
A
just
little
holding-
shakedown.
He's just holding his ass up, man. All right, next. This is kind of dumb, but I thought it was funny. I'm gonna have to read it a couple of times. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Would you rather fight a duck-sized horse or a horse-sized duck?
Oh,
I think this answer is easy, honestly.
yeah, definitely the duck-sized horse.
Yeah.
I feel like
Uh,
the smaller
yeah.
animal, I'm gonna get a little more advantage.
One punt.
Yeah. But I mean, ducks are pretty fucking mean. If you know goose and ducks, they
Yeah.
can be pretty savage.
Yeah.
So
Especially
if you get a
take
big
their
one,
nest.
But I think a duck-sized horse is kind of soft.
Yeah?
You know what I mean? Like
Fluffy?
Yeah, because
Fluffy.
ducks are soft, man. Like a horse-sized duck would be kind of,
Really about half the size of what you're envisioning
like
because it's soft.
it'd also be hard to damage it though if you're trying to fight
Yeah,
it. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like
One
you gotta get
peck.
through the
all
fluff.
those
One
all those
pet.
feathers. You're punching feathers.
yeah,
It never really hurts it.
right. So
But if you grabbed it by its neck and twisted,
You can't really tackle it. Can't really do anything.
I don't know, man. That's a tough one.
but it's just a chokehold.
Too big. You would need a weapon.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like a duck-sized horse would be kind of strong.
I think a 12 gauge would take care of either one of them.
like nimble and like.
Yeah, it's gonna be fast and all that, but
But I do have a question. Have you ever noticed how ducks always seem to run after your testicles when they're coming at you and charging you?
Yeah,
Bro.
man.
They don't ever try to grab nothing else. They always seem to aim of your testicles.
Yeah, ducks and
organ.
geese will come after your ass, man.
yeah, they're fast too.
Yeah, they'll come after
They're
your ass.
fast.
Yeah, they don't fuck around.
Vicious.
All right, next one. This one's kind of deep. This one's kind of deep.
Deeper.
All right, artificial intelligence, benefit or threat?
Both.
Threat.
I think it's both, but it's
I
just
think
not.
it's a threat.
You gotta pick
It's
one.
not
You gotta
advanced
pick one.
enough
You gotta
right
pick one.
now
You gotta
to
pick
be a
one.
threat.
You got to pick one.
It's advanced too much. That's why it's a threat.
The issue here is who owns it, and I think in the current situation, it is a 60-40 threat more than it is benefit at this point, just because of the reality of who owns the artificial intelligence and how they plan to use it.
Their
and-
goals, yeah.
Yeah, and it's,
Russia.
I feel like more of a money-making opportunity than a benefit to humanity. You know,
Putin.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think
it's
It's a
on the
little bit of
line. It's
both.
really close, but
It's a
I
little
would
bit of
lean
both.
more threat just because of
yeah.
where we are geopolitically. In the current
I think
Threat.
right now, how we see it and use it is a benefit. But the future,
climate.
I think there's a threat to be had.
Just remember.
For the future.
RoboCop.
Or Terminator 2.
Yeah,
dude.
Skynet.
Terminator 2 is like, there's a company called Skynet. Dude, I mean, it's like really? Like, it's there already. Like, it's crazy. Like, when I heard that, I was like, what? There's really a company called Skynet who has artificial intelligence? Like, really?
Whenever it becomes smart enough to make more of itself, then it's a big threat.
we're
fucked.
fucked.
We're
We're talking
totally
about
fucked.
self-reproduction?
Making itself
Yes,
and
making
thinking for itself.
designing, programming.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
that's scary.
That's what I'm
If
saying.
if it does itself, then what's it going to tell itself to do?
We don't know its goals.
Yeah.
Could be to take over.
It's gonna take over.
The
Man,
aliens.
you saw
somewhere.
Terminator 2.
iRobot, man. Asimov had a good one there too with that view on it.
Yeah.
How they were too beneficial for humanity. You know, they want to keep us safe, but they put us in little
What
concentration.
was that other
camps.
movie, Short Circuit?
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Next one.
Uh-oh.
If your life was a movie, what genre would you be?
My life is a movie.
Yeah, would you be a mystery? Would you be a comedy? Would you be a horror? Would you be?
Yeah, fucking comedy.
Yeah, I would have to go the same with that one. So much crap happens that you just kind of have to laugh at it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
Brings you down otherwise.
Yeah. I'm gonna say for sure 100% a comedy. Grant?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, we're-
Grant's too young to say drama.
I would-
know
I
what
would-
drama is.
I would think yours would be a drama though.
Yeah, you think that, but everybody always asks when it comes to like TV. Everybody's got their favorite, ER TV show. The Grey's Anatomy, the Scrubs, the ER, and they're always like, which one's the most realistic? And it's Scrubs, man. Like Scrubs is the most realistic.
It's a
'cause
comedy.
It's a comedy. You have to laugh because literally every day you're
dealing with terrible stuff every day.
yeah.
And the only way you can get through it mentally is laugh at it. So I would definitely say more comedy than drama.
Okay.
Now, if I were in like hospice or hospital care sometime, then I would definitely say it would be more drama. But for me, I'm the figure out what's wrong with you and then transfer. Let's on to the next one.
Hey, you need to be bandaged up real quick and see you later.
Yeah. All right, that was a good one. Okay, next. Are you traveling into the past or into the future?
I think
Traveling
I have
to
a
the
clear
past,
answer on this one. Yeah.
I'm going to the past.
I would have to agree with that past. I feel like our best times were
Back to 1978 and fuck all the bullshit.
I'm going back to when Bitcoin was like $13 a share.
I remember when it was like a penny, man.
Yeah.
Less
That
than a
was,
penny.
that was just a few years ago, Grant. Like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Crypto millionaire.
I'm with the 70s, late 70s,
Yeah.
when the music was the best. Drugs were the best. Yeah.
I would say late 80s, early 90s, and just ride the techno boom again. Get to feel the internet out for the first
I
time.
want to
techno boom.
do away with all that shit.
Yeah,
and
but
get
in the,
back
in the
to
very,
reality
very
again.
beginning, it was something beautiful.
Only for the people that could afford it.
True.
Yeah.
Right?
For the people that couldn't afford it, didn't make a hill of beans.
It was an exciting time. I remember it. I remember we got a computer.
Yeah, growth.
I
Everything.
remember we
going
got a
good.
computer and internet
90s
when it first came
alternative
out.
grunge.
Yeah.
Look how fantastic this shit is.
It was slow.
Too
as
bad we don't know when it's going to get to
slow
us
as
in 10 years.
Christmas. Yeah, it was slow as Christmas, man. But it was cool to be able to
Yahoo.
to have the information. Right
The,
at
the
your
web
fingertips.
page took 5 minutes to completely get to the fucking bottom.
Yeah, AOL. It was bad.
AOL.
I'm
what's
gonna
that?
I'm gonna get on the computer. Don't anybody use the phone.
America Online.
America Online.
Yeah.
That was the OG. It was like you had a little messenger and you could
They
send
used
your
to
friends.
they used to send you a little disc in the mail about every fucking month that gave you like 3,000 free hours if you signed up for AOL.
My mom still has
AOL
an
2.0. AOL.
my
Is it
mom-
like a
2.4.
search engine?
No.
It's
so
like
a
your Yahoo.
browser.
Yeah, it's
So
like your Yahoo and
before-
Google shit.
Before you had Safari and all that, you had to like log into an actual browser and then log in, and then they would let you on the internet. It wasn't like you could just click Internet Explorer.
They
and log in.
controlled everything you did.
Yeah, basically.
My mom still has an AOL email that she uses.
I'm surprised it's still functional.
It's kind of a
Still
flex. It's kind of a flex, honestly.
OG.
Still,
OG
it
status.
is. It still works. Still works. Okay.
Next one.
Hope nobody steals mine. It's right there on the damn picture. So
Uh-oh.
please don't steal mine. If you were a ghost, who would you haunt and why?
If I was a ghost, who would I haunt and why? I honestly would need time to think about that one there.
No, I got mine.
I mean, I can quickly say Biden, but I mean,
Can't steal his thunder.
You fucker. You
Can't steal his
synced it.
thunder.
You synced it. You synced it.
I mean, you could instantly say that, but realistically, who would I haunt? I don't know who I would haunt.
Taylor Swift.
No way she
Despise
keeps
her.
getting brought up.
Despise her. She's a devil anyway, so yeah, she's already sold her soul. So I feel like it'd be a good one to haunt. You get to hang out with some friends.
Definitely has sold her soul for sure.
Yeah. Plus, my daughter loves her, and just get the counter of torturing
Yep,
her.
there you go.
Nothing against her. Please don't spite me down. Your devil
Yeah, we
powers.
could have used her if the only music in heck is
on repeat every album. Karaoke
Same
by a small
song.
Asian woman.
Same song.
Only restaurant in heck would have been Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's new restaurant chain they're gonna open.
Yeah. We got to do another. We got to do another heck top 10. But anyways, who you gonna haunt?
I don't know, honestly. I don't think I'd want to haunt anybody.
Gotta pick one.
You got to pick somebody.
Think of the person that you hate the most.
There you go.
And say their name.
I honestly don't really hate anybody like that. But
Yeah.
Very respectable young man.
I
Grant
put,
hasn't lived in this world long enough yet.
of course, I put Joe Biden. On there.
Resentment builds with age.
Of course, I put Joe Biden on there because I would love to just just scare him. Just
Would you
probably
would
die
you pop
pretty
out of his
quickly.
ice cream cone?
I mean, I would just be like, "Boo, boo,
Right out of his ice cream cone. Right when he goes to take a lick of it.
I just love to see his face. Like,
After the 5-second delay.
It takes time to register.
I would just haunt the fuck out of him. Just scare the fuck out of him all the time.
Tickle his feet at night time
And
while
then
he's
just
sleeping.
laugh. Just laugh, you know.
tickle his feet.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be just fucking great.
All right, what's your next one there?
All right, here we go. This is the last one.
Last one.
Last one.
Uno.
The final.
Would you rather fly or be invisible?
I would rather fly.
Yep. Agreed. No questions asked.
Invisible.
Not me. I'd rather be invisible.
It's a 50-50 split.
I'd rather be invisible.
What
I feel
would
like
be
you
the
could get away with more being invisible, but I feel like
Yes,
flying
if
would
you
be
could
way
fly,
more
you could get away from
practical.
everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
but
fly.
If you were
When
invisible,
they're coming after you, just fly.
Right.
if you were invisible, you could get away with anything. If you could fly, people could just see you. If you were invisible, like you could just sneak into anywhere and just if you could fly, you'd have to land at some point.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but
Then
if
that
I
was
wanna go
all
to
you- that's all you
Bahamas, I'm
got.
like, peace. See you guys in 6 hours when you fly here.
Haven't you seen how fast Superman like flies around the world like 10 times in 1 minute?
Right, but if you were invisible, you could just sneak onto a plane and nobody would see you.
True. True.
Then you're just gonna sit there on the plane
Yeah.
invisible.
But you'd have to be naked though, because your clothes ain't gonna be invisible.
But it doesn't
Birthday
matter because
suit.
nobody's going to see you.
Just let it
Birthday
hang.
What about the
suit.
seat though? Like you're gonna be sitting in a seat.
Sweaty
You
leg
know,
press?
somebody's gonna sit.
Sweaty nuts on the seat.
Yeah.
My sweaty balls.
You'd figure it out. You'd figure it out. You'd figure it out. Yeah, I'm gonna say
figure it out.
I'm gonna say invisible.
I think
Don't
it's
leave
just
no
cool
skid
to be
marks.
invisible.
Don't be over farting in the seat and leaving skid marks. Mr. Invisible was just sitting here. We can tell.
Yeah.
He left his peel out marks.
Ugh. That's nasty.
Peel out.
Yeah, so we'll probably continue that on Friday. There's so many debatable questions that have not been answered.
All right. Dr. G, you ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
All right.
Got these questions he's listed out here.
Yeah. Okay. So first thing. Before
Oh
we get
shit!
started.
Grant wrote down questions for the first time. What? He broke out his pad. Watch the hell
Yeah,
out.
I gave him a pad the other day. I'm like, look, dude, you need to write stuff down. Okay. Here.
Learning.
Yeah.
Adulting.
Today's the first day he's done that. This homework.
Okay. First thing.
Yeah.
We need a fun fact about you that most people don't know.
Let's see. Fun fact
Yeah.
about me.
Yeah.
I guess let's just go back to I'm a rural Tennessee kid. I grew up in the middle of nowhere in West Tennessee in Dyersburg.
Okay.
I've lived all around, traveled all around, worked in multiple states, seen a lot of crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm still a Tennessee boy at home and glad to be back. That was the first place we moved when we got out of Miami, Florida, was coming back here just because I was so done with the blue section of that state, because not all of it is blue, but that portion was.
That portion was.
Very. Now, the funny thing, though, with the Hispanics down there is they're actually really Republican, which is counterintuitive because the Cubans have seen communism and see it in the Democrats, and they're like, oh, Jesus, give me the fuck away from that shit, man.
As they should be.
Yep.
Yeah.
So how was Miami? You like Miami?
A great place to visit,
Yeah.
terrible place to live.
Yeah.
Super expensive. As far as learning medicine, I couldn't have learned in a better place because I got to see everything you could ever possibly imagine times
Bet
3.
you did.
Everything from fluke diseases that you only see in foreign countries to shooting, stabbings, car wrecks, motorcycle wrecks. you
Shark
name it.
bites.
Yeah. I didn't get to see one of those, actually. We were a little more inland, but I did see an alligator snap on a foot one time.
All right. Gator bites.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
I like a gator bite. That like a good old
He
gator
was. He
bite.
was fishing. He was fishing. Put his foot on the fish because it was flopping, and the gator came up, stole the foot, and bit through his foot.
Damn.
Started fishing.
One of that fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chompers out, baby.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, get down. All right, go for it, Jeff. What you got over
All
there?
right. So let's start with your journey from where you graduated from high school. What was your plan?
Well, first I had a kid very young. I had a child when I was in high school, so I kind of always had my plan laid out ahead of time of what I wanted to do in school and all that. When I came through, I went to undergraduate at the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga.
Okay.
I was a chemistry major. Normally when you go to medical school, you're like chemistry, bio, one of those. You have to hit the highlights for, prerequisites for all of that crap. My first year out, I didn't do well enough on the medical exam that you have to take to get in, so I took a year off. I worked. At the time, I was like a CNA. I was wiping butts, putting people on bedpans. My mother was a nurse and was always like, if you want to get a little bit of respect for the top, you got to start at the bottom. So that was where I did. And in my year off, I worked. I hiked the Appalachian Trail that summer. I studied a crap ton, and then I retook my test and got into DO school, which is LMU, a little north of Knoxville in Tennessee, up near the Cumberland Gap. Did 4 years there, and then went to Miami for about 3.5 years to do my residency down there, and then GTFO'd back to Tennessee, and I've been doing ER small town ever since.
So were you married with a child during all this? Or?
No. But we never got married. We were together for a long time, mostly through high school. But, when you're 16 years old, you grow a lot between the time you're 16 and 25.
Okay.
you know.
Get it. I get it.
Yeah, we're great. We're civil. I get my daughter every other weekend.
There you go.
There you go. Active part of her life, so not anything like that.
I did the same thing. I had a child at 19, and I get it.
Humbles you. You grow up. You learn the sacrifices and all that
100%.
stuff. It's always my life lesson to everyone is you can do anything you want to if you just put your mind to it and really make the sacrifices, because that's the key.
That's a fact.
Time management.
Yeah.
That's a fact, Jack.
Yeah.
Me, what I got? You don't point at me. I ain't got.
Get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I go straight for the fucking gusto, man. I'm not gonna beat around the bush here.
Fire at
We
it.
want some bullshit. All right.
Yep.
We've all seen the TV show
Certainly.
Sex Sent Me to the ER.
Absolutely. Numerous times.
Give me a great fucking Sex Sent Me to the ER story.
All right. The first one that comes to mind is, so normally when a patient checks into the ER, there's a complaint, right? It's at the top. It's like chest pain, it's shortness of breath, it's abdominal pain. The best ones are no complaints, because then in the back, we're all taking gambles on what it is. You know what I mean? It's like STDs, it's foreign object, it's, something I don't want to tell anybody about. And so it's a big, huge buff guy. He's like 6'4", big burly guy, little tiny girlfriends with him, and there's no complaint. And so I'm like, oh, great, this could be a good one, So we go in, and normally when you see the big burly guys, you would not have ever think of foreign objects. But with foreign objects, we always have to go straight for the x-ray, right? So the x-ray is first, just so we can get an idea of where this is, how far up it is. And so the guy's like, basically like, hey, we were playing around, and she was sticking something back there, and lost it. And, my life lesson to this is there's always things that come with handles for a reason, because we don't tend to lose them.
No.
So the reason I bring this story up is because I'll never forget the radiologist, because normally when you x-ray it, it's an outline, right? We don't get to see all the details, the finer details of everything that's inside, but it's an outline. And so it's this, phallic shape object. And so me and the radiologist are cracking up. Yeah, it's a fancy word for penis. And me and the radiologist are looking at each other, and he goes, "Where's the batteries?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's a great question. It's it's empty. It just looks like this metal cylindrical object." So then I go in there to dig this thing out, and as I grab a hold of it with my, Mallory forceps here and pull this out, I realize it's a Dove deodorant bottle. So have you ever seen those spray Dove deodorants?
Holy shit!
Damn.
So of course on X-ray it looks like a dildo. You know what I mean? And you're like waiting to find the batteries, but of course it's empty. Yeah.
Doved.
How in the hell can your ass stretch that to shove a bottle up your ass?
I have seen bigger things.
Uh-oh.
Much bigger.
Elaborate.
Bigger things.
Okay, tell us the biggest thing.
A Granny Smith apple.
Oh,
damn.
Like full-sized lime green Granny Smith apple.
In the ass?
In the ass. The lie, the best lie though, was he was like, I fell on it, and I'm like, bro, in my
Are you serious? He said
35
that?
years of existence, I've
He
never
said
slipped
that?
in the kitchen.
He said he
and an
fell
apple
on it.
and took my
He
ass
said
off.
he slipped and fell on it.
The best part of his story though is me begging the surgeon at like 2:30 in the morning, because the guy was a male model, right?
Oh, yeah.
Queer than a football bat, but a male model.
Yeah.
And he was one of those that was like begging, because he's like, please, I can't have surgery, I can't mess up his stomach, because that's how he made his money. And so he's like begging to me, and I'm like, dude, I'm not the surgeon. Like, I can try to dig this thing out, but like, I don't think it's gonna happen, man. Like, every time I grab a hold of it, it's like, and it's like spinning. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to get this. And so I have to call the surgeon at like 2:30 in the morning, and I'm like, yeah, I got this thing. And so he comes in, and normally for this case, it would take like 30, 45 minutes. You know what I mean? You cut the abdomen open, you cut it out, you sew everything back up, and you're done. You're like, close that shit up, I'm out of here. You know, and the surgeon gets to go home and go back to bed. But he spent about an hour and 50 minutes in there, and he basically cut the apple into small pieces from the outside of the butthole and took it out in small pieces until the apple was small enough to fully remove.
Because diced the apple in the ass.
Yes. Slap chop. You know, slap chop it in the butt.
Look, so Rick's face is not facing his camera. If you guys could have seen his face looking at him, I mean, it was like this right here.
Yeah. That was by far the biggest like round object, but yeah, it was huge, ginormous.
Dude.
Holy shit. Okay, so
Let's keep in mind that was intentional. It wasn't.
Yeah, no. He did admit it later that he was holding it by the stem, and once it gets past a certain point, it just sucks up in there and it's gone.
Did he think he was going to be able to get it out with the stem?
I have no idea. To be honest, I didn't get that far into questioning after that. I was
he
just laughing
just
too
curious
much.
to see if he could get an apple up his ass? I mean,
Like I said, he was squealing on a football bat, so I'm sure it wasn't the first big thing he'd stuck up there.
yeah.
I wonder what he used for lube.
No questions. Didn't get that far.
So that takes off my one of my questions, which was what was the dumbest visit you ever experienced?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think I've even had a worse insertion than that.
Okay,
But it was a guy, but it was the opposite insertion point that you would think it would be.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Tell
In the
us.
pee hole.
Tell us.
Yeah.
no.
So they have a word for it. They call it sounding, and I didn't know about it until after this case because
come
one of the
on.
nurses was
Come
like,
on.
sounding.
Come
So
on.
a lot of times with psych patients, they will really enjoy putting things down their pee hole.
Oh no.
And so this kid comes in and
psych.
he's like, I can't say an age, excuse me. The guy comes in and the only thing that I see is on the list is that he's put something down there. And so I like go in and I'm like, all right, buddy, drop your drawers. Like I got to take a look. And so you ever seen, an iPhone cord?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right. So, the USB portion of the cord is the only thing that I see sticking out of the penis is the USB plug. What the? And he has shoved the cord and the charging port all the way inside of him. And I'm like, bro, why did you do this? And he's like, I wanted to see how long it was from the inside. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. But the funniest thing about that one, I have to say, is the nurse's comment. Because me and the nurse saw it, and I'm like, there's nothing I can do for this. Like, it's set. Like, you're going to have to go to urologic surgery.
Did you like plug him in?
That's exactly what the nurse said. And as soon as they walked out of the room, she goes, I think he just needs a charge. We should probably plug him in. And I just lost my shit. Like, lost it. Done. Over. Can't help it. But like I said, humor, man. Humor is really where those come in. Because they have to laugh about it. Because
What?
there's nothing else you can do.
Wow, that's crazy. Damn it, man.
I feel like looking at something like that, like I would feel pain. You
wins. You definitely wins. But
I got you,
in my
Mike. I
career,
turned
you
them up.
definitely get numbed to it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I see.
desensitized.
Yeah. Enough injuries and things down there that it just doesn't bother me anymore at this point.
Have you ever had to go, I say, on site to like a car crash scene? I know some doctors work on the ambulances or medevacs and things like that to actually go in the field and do things. Have you had to do that?
I have in the past. I've stopped. There is a good Samaritan law that does protect us if you do stop. I've witnessed car accidents and things like that and helped stabilize people until ambulance and things get there. I have done some ride-alongs. So, you do get that aspect of it as well, especially in my rural ER setting. I'm really close contact with a lot of my EMS, and, they will call me for orders or things like that en route to me. So we're normally really in close contact, and a lot of those guys you really trust. You know what I mean? So, like I said, that close beneficial relationship really helps, especially with care and where do they need to go and, what needs to be done.
What's the worst scene you had to actually go to outside the hospital?
I had a wreck one time that was literally in front of the hospital. And it was the only time I ever had to trach someone, which is one of those procedures that you practice, on pigs and on mannequins and all of these things, and you hope you never really do it. But this time I did, and it was a very young kid, and I remember I had seen him several times before, and he was on the back of a motorcycle. And in Florida, in certain states, there's no helmet law.
Yeah.
And as an ER doctor, I'm just going to caution you against that because I've seen way too many traumatic brain injuries and the whatnot.
Yeah.
And
Brain matter.
I
on the
never
road.
understood that.
Right.
Why you'd even in a state where you
Right.
don't have to wear a helmet, why you would not wear a helmet.
risk it. Yeah. And yeah, that one was awful because I'm literally sitting outside of the ER taking a break, and I watched this one happen, and I'm like, oh crap, like that's coming right here. And it was pretty gnarly because of the way the injury happened. Motorcycle, 2 guys on a motorcycle, both neither wearing helmet. Driver obviously dies on impact, about 35 miles an hour T-bone. And the kid on the back hit the body, flew over the car, and the first thing that hit was face, going about 40 miles an hour. So that's why I had to cry, because there was nothing, like you couldn't find a hole in the face besides the
nothing
eyes.
to breathe through.
Yeah, so it was pretty nasty, but he lived. He lived, and he made it through, and I saw him afterwards, and he never really looked the same. He got a lot of facial surgeries, but he did live. So, you know.
Yeah,
Thanks to you.
there's a plus side to it.
Oh,
Sometimes.
smokes.
The plus side to it. Good Lord,
He
man.
lived through that. That's crazy. He
Yeah.
really lived through all that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the body is a wild thing. I have
Resilient.
seen it turn around from miraculous situations where you're like, oh, they're not going to make it, and it's just like, surprise.
What's like the worst patient that you've had? I mean,
Are you talking
I was
like
about
just-
to ask
over what?
Dr. Pet Peeves.
Oh, Dr. Pet Peeves is one coming to the ER for non-ER things. That's like
I got a cold. Can you see me?
Yeah,
today?
yeah. I went to the doctor's office, and they told me it was going to be a 3-hour wait. And so I'm going to come to the ER now and waste your time. So that's probably my biggest one there. But, I mean, most people know when you need to go to the emergency room. If you're, like, can't breathe, you have chest pain, you're having a stroke, like you're in a car wreck, you break an arm, you need stitches.
Emergencies.
Yeah, nausea, vomiting, my belly pain is insane, you know, those types of things. Second big pet peeve is like not treating yourself, right? Like we have the amazing capabilities of a pharmacy in the United States.
Yeah.
And it's like people will bring kids in and they're like, oh, my kid has a fever. And I'm like, did you give him Tylenol? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I'm going to believe you. You know what I mean?
I was told not to when they have a temperature of 103. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and then they always bring it because they're like, I wanted you to see. I'm like, I'll believe you. Like, treat the fever.
Bring this sick ass kid in here to me.
But those are the biggest pet peeves. I think worst patients really comes down to the seekers, as I call them, the drug seeking behavior patients.
Yeah. Multiple trips to the ER.
Yeah, we call them frequent flyers.
Pain here, pain there, pain everywhere.
Yeah.
And the only thing that'll work for me.
Yeah, the allergy list. It'll be like, I'm allergic to ibuprofen, and I'm allergic to codeine, and I'm allergic to hydrocodone. The only thing I can take is that thing that starts with a D. What is it? Dilaudid. Yeah. That's the only thing I can
I
take.
like that stuff. That shit's good. That shit's
Everybody
good.
loves it.
I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie.
That's the hard one is.
I'm gonna have a little injection of that and go to La La Land.
And the sad thing is you have to weed out those patients from the real ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to kind of play impartiality there and not necessarily believe everybody, but try to believe everybody.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult road.
And when you go pull their name up the computer, they've been there 15 times in the past month.
That's definitely a red flag. That and Medicare.
With a different complaint every time.
Yeah.
So, how many babies have you had to deliver?
36, I think.
36.
Damn, he keeps count.
Yeah.
See?
He keeps count.
I almost did OB my first few years out, and then I really kind of had to switch it because I had some bad experiences.
So, is it like they show up there and it's just no time to get them to.
Absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
it's a process normally. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it's like your 5th or 6th kid, then this little fucker's going to walk out. But if it's like your first or your second, then it's going to be a process that takes anywhere from 12 to 20 plus hours. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot of it. Like I said, when I first came out, I did a lot of OB. And one of my favorites, I'll tell you a really funny OB story.
Okay.
Because the guy I trained under was deaf, right? Like he was this little Jewish guy, and he was deaf, and he had double hearing aids, right? So he would go take a nap, and he would turn his hearing aids down. You know what I mean? And he would just go sleep on his couch, and he'd be like, "Hey, go wake me up when it's time." You know? So I'm in there like, "Oh fuck." Oh, nervous, like first resident, like, oh God, like waiting for everything, checking every once in a while, and all right, it's coming, like I gotta wake him up. And so I ran in there, I'm like, Dr. Me. And he's like, huh? You know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, come on, it's coming. And he's like, ha ha. And he finally gets up and he comes in, forgets to turn him up. Okay. So this girl has a grade 3 tear as she has this baby. So there's only 4 grades. 4 means that the
All the way
vagina and
down.
butthole is connected.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
really close. She's got a
Yeah.
grade 3, so it's really bad. So he's down there sewing her up. And at this point, I've already taken care of the baby. The baby's out, delivered, cleaned up, on mom's chest. You know, I've taken care of all that stuff while he's down there just sewing. And the girl looks at me, and Dr. Amin was a lip reader. Obviously, he was used to being deaf, so he read lips a lot. And I look down at him, and I'm like, hey, are you almost done? And he's like, huh? And I'm like, hey, are you almost done? And he's like, huh? And he can't read my lips because I have a face shield on. You know what I mean? A lot of splatter happens in birth, so you're like completely gowned and gloved. And he looks at me for a third time, and he goes, what? And I'm like, are you almost done? And then he screams back because he can't hear himself. And he goes, it looks like a fucking hand grenade went off down here. Give me a minute. And this girl's face just goes blanket white, man. Like, pure white. She's just looking at me. And I'm like, it's not that bad, sweetheart. I promise it's not that bad. And she's like nearly in tears.
Like a roast beef sandwich.
Yeah, it was bad.
Roast beef
Poor
sandwich.
thing. It was rough. But you can't tell him that at the time.
Oh, God.
It was awful, though.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, a lot of good baby stories. I did a lot of babies, so that's why I know that number so well.
Oh, just got one over.
I got a few. They're not all related to the ER, but how do you juggle the stress of the ER with the stress of life outside of it? You know what I mean? Because I know it's got to be stressful.
It is. It can wear on you. The times that it gets the worst for me or when I do like runs, when I do like 4 or 5 shifts in a row. After about 3 of them, it really starts to wear on you, and you kind of get to the point where you don't want to keep going. You lose a little bit of that passion, and you kind of get a little more gruff. So, but the balance for me, I think, is I treat it like a light switch. When I get off work, I flick the switch off, and I don't talk about work unless it's a good story.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times you get home and you want to vent and you want to let some of the negative stuff out, and then it just kind of makes you feel negative. So for me, it's like on those crap days, I come home and I tell my wife one good thing. Like the one patient that made that day worth it all out of the 100 that you saw, there's going to be 50 that suck and, 20 that are there for good reasons, and then 2 that are like, that's why I'm a doctor. And you go back and you relive those memories because those are the ones that make you want to be a doctor,
Right.
and make you want to keep working. Because not every day is that way, which we all have those days.
Right. Yeah. Damn, I just couldn't imagine, man.
Sometimes it's rough, but some days you have them and you're just like, you come home and you're happy. You know what I mean? You're like so thankful because you did this, and this, and
Because you help people.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's not even like huge thing of, like I saved this person from a heart attack or did this. Sometimes it's just like they haven't had blood pressure medicine in 3 months, bro. They can't get in to get an appointment, and you just wrote them a prescription. Like something so simple to me, but to them, they're just like, holy shit. Like, so sometimes it's just something.
You
weird.
saved my life. Thank you.
Right. So sometimes it's little things. It's not just always the big, huge, you did this or did that. But those days are always good too, because you do get some of those where they come back in and it'll be like, I saw the husband, and like I had this happen the other day. I had this lady on the floor because I do a little bit of hospital work as well, so I sometimes work on the floor and see floor patients. But I saw this lady and her husband came in and he's like, hey, do you remember me? And I'm like, yeah, because sometimes you don't. Like you see a lot of faces. You remember cases. Like as soon as he told me his case, he was like, you diagnosed me with kidney cancer, and I was like, oh my God, yes, I do remember you now. And, he's like, I had it removed. I'm doing great. I'm cancer free. He's like, thank you so much for finding it, And so it was just like one of those moments where you're just like, yeah, I did that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So those are the ones that you
rewarding
live for.
moments.
Yeah. You always got to have a silver lining.
So tell me about a flatline.
Oh, like the worst one, the first one?
Yeah, like somebody who flatlined and you're like, shit, man, they're dying, and I brought them back.
Great. So I had this guy come in, and he's given the classic, hand on the chest pain signs. And everybody in that area knew who this guy was, and yada, yada. So we, get him in there, get him back fast, and I'm going to check him out, listening to him. And literally, in the moment I'm asking him questions, he goes completely unconscious, right? Like classic chest pain. Hook him up to the paddles, he's flatlined. So, and then you start running a code. And, you're calling out these meds, you're getting IVs, you're shocking him. I think I shocked him like 6 times over the course of probably an hour and 10 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, so it was a hot minute. Like, it was, we're going back and forth. And there were times where you would think you would get a pulse back and you wouldn't really feel it, and you've got a Doppler. And after a certain point, you get to the area where you're like, okay, like, I need to bring some family in so they can see. Because a lot of times if I call the code and then the family comes in afterwards, they're like, why aren't you doing anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes for some people, it's better to see that you're doing everything possible. So that way they understand when I say, here's time of death, like, call the code, it's done. And for some people, it's really beneficial. And so I called these people in, and it was a whole bunch of family, and they are like, doing the bohemian, like, screaming bloody murder, beating on this guy's legs. Wake up, you asshole. Like,
Right.
Wake up, daddy, you asshole. You're too stubborn to die. And they're screaming at this guy, man, like, top of their lungs, crying, bawling, And I'm like, all right, one more round and we're going to call it. And so before you call it, everyone has to check a pulse, right? Like, I'm up here on the head. There's nurses on different spots, and you're all kind of checking. And there's even one down here with a Doppler, which is like a little ultrasound machine, to even hear the faintest little, And so I'm like, pulse check, and like literally about to call it. And then the nurse looks at me and goes, I got a pulse. And I'm like, what? And then I reached back again and felt, and sure as shit, I felt it. And we kept going, and literally 20 minutes later, this dude is intubated, and he's got a heartbeat, and, he lived. And he made it out of that after being completely
I got a
dead
cold
for an
chill.
hour.
I got a cold chill when he was talking
yeah.
about that. That's crazy, man.
The one thing I will say is sound is the last thing to go, man. So it's like, we always tell people in comas and things like that, they can
Talk to them.
They can still hear you, man. Play their favorite music, those types of things, because even if that brain is turned off, it's still picking up those frequencies, and it's still, it's still in there to some extent. So always kind
The
of
receptors might still be working a little
right.
bit.
So does that happen to you before, like you flatlined and you brought people back? Does that happen?
It's not as frequent as you would say.
Yeah.
You would think it would be. But yeah, it really depends on how quickly you get to me, right?
Yeah.
If it happens in front of me, the chances of me bringing you back are very, very high. If you've been down in the field for 30 minutes and then EMS gets there and then they do CPR and then they get to you in 15 minutes, and then you've been down for a total of 45, then, you're starting to talk about a different story, because it really depends on how long you've been without oxygen.
Yeah. Have you ever had anybody say that they saw something?
Yeah.
Oh, tell us about that.
A lot of times in that situation, it's always described as a white light. There's always someone say, hey, come to this light, or the two situations I could think of most vividly would be that they were going in that direction and something told them that it wasn't time, or that you don't need to be here yet, or it's good to see you, but it's not the time. So it was a very interesting thing. I think a lot of it has to do with, the way the body copes with traumatic situations, because your body knows you're dying. You know what I mean? And it definitely registers that. So I feel like it's going to try to make that as easy as a passing as possible in that. And so it releases some endorphins and some other things that your body doesn't normally release.
DMT.
Yeah, things like that. That are present, like when we dream and things like that, to kind of give those vivid realizations of life. And I think that's why they always kind of describe the life flashing before your eyes, because it's not necessarily you judging yourself, but you just kind of looking back on everything and am I happy with this kind of situation? But
I had a buddy of mine get hit by a motorcycle in California, and when I found out about it, called him on the phone, and the first thing he said to me, it wasn't, hey man, thanks for calling. He was like, dude, I died.
Yeah.
I went to heaven. And he said, I can't not describe what I saw. Yeah. He said, all I can tell you is the most beautiful thing I've ever laid my eyes on.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about crossing over into the, you know what I mean?
There's got to be something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be the most religious person here in the world, but I feel like there is got to be something else, something beyond this. There's too many coincidences, too many things that happen to not say that there's something deeper than us. But for me to definitively jump on the bandwagon and say it's this, say it's that, I can't really do that. I'm a very scientific kind of person when it comes to those things, but I definitely won't shy away from it. You know what I mean? Like there's something there. There's
Too
something
many,
to
too
be
many
said.
stories
Right.
to disprove it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, for some reason in my mind, I feel like it's whatever you think
Right.
it is what you're going to experience.
Right.
Because that's what you've pounded into your thoughts for so long. So whatever you think it is, that's what it's going to be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Self-actualization kind of thing. You know?
Manifestation kind of.
Yeah, kind of. You know, you like, you know, that's what it's going to be when you finally pass over. It's what it's going to be for you.
Mike says, how about a, what does it
Yeah.
say here? An unaware drunk story. In other words, unaware they were really fucking hurt really bad because they were so drunk.
I used to have this guy, and he was a notorious frequent flyer. Okay, so much so to that when he came in, it was just like, oh fuck, he's here. You know what I mean? Like, how am I gonna get him out of here this fast? And he rode a bicycle everywhere he went, and you know, I have sewed him up so many times. I could think of like 12 times I've given him staples. I think I've given him sutures like 4 or 5 times. He normally preferred the staples because it was quicker, so I could just like toom 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 toom, and he'd be out and done. And so again, he comes in for a bicycle wreck, and I'm like, oh, here he is, drunk again on a bicycle, you know, no big deal, yada, yada, yada. But this time there was one thing that was just a little bit different, and he was just acting funny, and one of his pupils was blown, and I was like, this is not like you. So I'm going to kind of take it a little seriously, and so I scanned his head, and he had a full-on frontal skull fracture.
Smacked his
So
noggin.
yeah, it was just like completely depressed frontal skull fracture, and really tore himself up so much so that I had to like helicopter fly him out of there after that.
Damn.
And it was just like he had no correlation, like didn't realize how bad it was. He was like, "What are you doing? Like I need to go home. Like I got to take care of my dog." And I'm like, "Bro, like."
You ain't going anywhere anytime soon.
Like you need a drill in your skull right now to relieve some pressure.
Yeah.
You're gonna die. But yeah, like I said, those you got to be careful of because a lot of times the frequent ones, the ones that show up all the time, you're like,
You overlook them.
yeah. So you can't take those too seriously.
Have you watched, this is unpertained to what you're doing up there, have you watched any of the Riley Strain videos in the most recent one that they showed where he was initially running and then he fell? And it was about 10 seconds before he got up, and it looks like he hit his head because
Yeah.
after he got up, it's when he started stumbling.
Did
a
you
lot.
see that video?
I did not see the video, but
Yeah.
if you have some loss of consciousness, then there's definitely high probability of concussions. You know, that's something that we look for in those situations, especially if it's for more than a few seconds. You know, it's like one of those things. If you're like boom, and I'm like right back awake, like okay, but if you're like significantly down for time,
He laid there
Yeah.
for a minute or so.
Yeah.
It was 10, 15 seconds of laying on the ground, and then he wiggles his way back up, and when he gets up, his head's hung down, and that's when he's stumbling off. But his head was up, and he was running prior to that. I think he fell and hit his head.
Yeah, no, and especially on alcohol, you know your risk of intracranial hemorrhages is increased because of vasodilation. So
Does that have anything to do with blood being thin and hit
yeah,
your head?
Yeah. So with alcohol, it expands, right? So you know the tubing for all the blood vessels expands, so they get a slightly bit thinner because they expand. So the probability of getting intracranial bleeds is definitely increased.
Okay.
And then plus it's the you don't feel it situation. Like
Yeah.
the first thing of an intracranial bleed is I'm going to notice is you acting funny. Well, if you're drunk, the probability of me detecting the fact that you're acting funny is much lower than if me and you were just sitting here, you know, and you're just like start slurring words and being like, I'm like, why is he acting that way? You know what I mean? I don't have a definitive reason for it.
Right.
So it can definitely make things different.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
So what do you, when you're not doctoring, what do you do? What do you like to do? What are your hobbies and stuff?
I'm a big gun nut. I love my
All
car.
Yeah,
I
cool.
have
Get
quite a
down.
gun collection, so that's
All
probably
right,
my
get
number
down.
one thing.
Yeah,
Movies, you know, anime, video games, some kind of little bit
Okay,
everything,
okay,
music,
okay.
concerts. But yeah, no, good home American. I like to hunt. I like to fish. I like to cook. I like to eat.
Yeah.
Football, basketball.
He's a Tennessee boy.
Yeah,
Let's do all the shit Tennessee
Get
boy
down,
like
get
doing.
down. Speaking of concerts, Mike Christopher, there's a the 23rd at Eastside Bowl. There is a great band playing. They're called 8-Track. They are fantastic. They are like a 70s, 80s rock and roll band, and they play the songs to a T, man. Like you feel like you are at the concert to every song they play.
That's awesome.
It is unbelievable.
Where's East Side Bowl? Is that the new bowling alley where Kmart used to be at?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah, me and we went and saw him last time, and we're going back to see him again. So yeah. Anyways, that's something coming up.
Hell yeah.
So one other question I have is, what's the latest and greatest technology that you are using right now that helps you in the emergency room?
For me, I'm in a little more of a rural setting, so I'm not like at Vanderbilt where we're seeing all the high tech stuff. For me, ultrasound is probably my biggest like go-to that I use all the time, because it's whether it's like I just need to check to see if your abdomen's bleeding really quickly, or do I need to start a central line, or do I check your spleen? Like kid comes in, you know what I mean, like left upper quadrant pain, and sometimes you don't want to CT them. The thing about CTs are there's a lot of radiation. So like one CT is like 240 some odd X-rays worth of radiation. So a lot of times with little kids, I don't want to use that as much. So
Change the sterilization, right?
I mean, yeah, cancer is always there. It's not like it's something they're going to get in a couple of years, but it's something long-term down the road that constant CTing can increase your risk of thyroid cancer and those kinds of things. But you try to avoid them as much as you possible. But ultrasound, I think for me, is the biggest that I use every day. For the future kind of stuff that I see on the horizons, definitely a lot of the vein finders is another big one that we see a lot. There's like either like a machine that shines a light, or a pair of glasses that the nurse can wear that illuminates all of your veins to make it easier for them to see. So things like that just kind of make the whole process of starting an IV easier, because a lot of times people have that big fear of going to the ER. They're going to get lines and blood drawn, and people hate that. But
Shit, I don't have that problem. Anytime I get a shot or like I have to get an IV, man, it's like I just stick my arm out and like, oh, there it is.
yeah, exactly.
They find it like right off the bat.
Yeah. But
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Grant, you got any more? You wrapped up over there?
what you got in
Let's
there?
see. Really, you were touching on it earlier about the like desensitizing yourself. So like you just learn to kind of cope with it, and it's all.
It's more just repeated doing it. You know what I mean? It's like I would equate it. Have you ever like hunted or fished?
Yeah.
Like you remember the first time you killed a deer and you just got like buck fever and you're just shaking your head off, and then like the second or third time it's not so bad.
Easier.
Yeah, or like gutting it. You know what I mean? Like field dressing it. It's like it's a process, and you learn. And the thing that I do the most to kind of differentiate them is I make it a systematic process. So every time I do it, it's the exact same way, right? So it's like. Say I'm going to do a pelvic exam, right, which is like a woman exam. Like every time it's the exact same way. Here, my hands are coming in, I'm going to touch you with the back of my hands. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this step. I'm going to do this step, and I talk to them. So it's a very like, procedural step-by-step thing. And if you continuously do it that way, then it's not, oh my God, I'm doing this thing.
Locks everything out.
Right. It's I'm doing a job. I'm going and I'm focusing on what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing, and then I'm moving on. Like, and then you cut it off, you take the gloves off, and you're going on to the next thing. So it's just more time and repetition. Like again, the first 5, 6, 7 times you do it, but by this time I've done like thousands. You know what I mean? Like, I make the joke the other day. I had some guy come in and he was like, "Hey, I'm bleeding out of my butt," and I'm like, "Okay, like I've got to take a look," and he's like, "What?" And I'm like, yeah, dude, yeah. If you come to the ER and you tell me you're bleeding out of your butt, I've got to stick my finger in it and look at it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's not a pleasurable experience for me, but it's the 4th time I've had to do this today alone. So turn around and let's get the show on the road,
Drop your drugs, brother. Say,
exactly.
It's my job.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, it's just like us tinting windows. It's like, whatever.
Yeah. You get to the point where you don't realize it. And the other thing is you get to that way with people and asking questions. Like, I'm not bashful about, like, when's the last time you used drugs? Like, I'm not going to ask you, do you use drugs? I will look at you and be like, yeah, you probably do. When was the last time? You know what I mean? And they'll be like 5 days ago. And I'm like, thanks for being honest. You know what I mean?
How did you know?
Yeah. Maybe it's the 3 teeth and, the scabs and the itching. But,
Your nervous twitch. It's a dead giveaway.
But especially in those situations, honesty is the other big thing. If you tell me straight up at the beginning of the interview, I'm going to be way more, hey, I'm going to help you. But if you lie to me and you're here for like urinary retention or abdominal pain, and you're like, you know, detoxing from meth, I'm gonna be way more pissed off in an hour and a half when I figure out it's meth, versus if you would have told me straight up in the beginning, you know, and I could have at least treated it and got you down and got you out of here. But don't waste my time. You know, that's my other thing that's frustrating.
That's crazy.
Have you ever had anybody come in heroin and you had to, you know, use the Narcan? And
Once or twice a week.
Really?
Yeah, especially with the fentanyl and all that stuff. The fentanyl makes it hard because
It blocks out the Narcan.
well, no, not necessarily that much. You can stop it. It just takes a hell of a lot more. One, and two, it doesn't show up in drug tests. So we will get you, and I will drug test you, and we'll cath you, and we'll get pee or we'll get blood, and we'll test it, but you'll be negative. And everybody's like, "How the fuck is that possible?" And I'm like, "Well, our drug tests don't test for fentanyl, so that's what got them." You know.
So
what I mean?
explain the fentanyl thing, man. What is? I don't even know it. I mean, that's how dumb I am to the drug thing.
So the thing about it that you got to realize is there's like gradients, right? There's
Okay,
levels,
okay,
right?
okay.
You know, it's like drinking beer. You know, there's a beer, and then there's a shot of like some Fireball, which is like a little bit higher, and then there's, you know, like a shot of whiskey, and then there's like 151. You know what I mean? So you got the escalation there. So, you know, like. Hydrocodone 5 would be like, you know, 2 or 3 milligrams of morphine would be an equivalent, right?
Okay.
So like an oxycodone 10, like a bigger dose would be like 10 plus milligrams of morphine. But you're talking like fentanyl, and it's like 30 to 40 milligrams of morphine, right? So it's an exponentially higher amount.
It's like 10 times the strength or something like that.
Right. So you're really kind of amplifying the dosage that you're getting in a much smaller package. And then the other thing here, that the problem with the overdoses is people are mixing it in, right? So they're getting this fentanyl, and then they're mixing it in with their heroin that they would normally sell. And then Joe Schmo comes on, and he's used to doing X number amount of heroin every time, right? So he buys the new stuff, and he goes to do X number of amount. Well, this X number of amount is a lot stronger than his normal X number of amount because it's got fentanyl in it.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to do the normal amount, and boom, he's not breathing, coding on the floor, you know. Got to bring him in, call EMS. So, you know, the gradient there, and then they start to feed it into the batches to kind of make people say, oh, his is better. You know what I mean? Let's go back to him because his seems like it's more stronger. And
so regular heroin's not good enough for people? They got to put the fentanyl in it? I don't understand
They
that.
won't get
Doesn't make any
fucked up.
sense.
Yeah.
So regular
They build a
cocaine's not
tolerance.
good enough? You got to put...
You got to do math.
You got to put fentanyl in it to make it better. I don't
About putting
understand
fentanyl
that.
on weed.
Yeah, that too. Again, it's
I just don't get it.
The traces amount to get people more addicted and to want to come back, to try something else. And that's the kind of the scary thing, I think, that generationally we don't understand, because when we were kids, it was like you smoked a doobie and you smoked a doobie, and there wasn't really like
You smoked a doobie.
that was it. Yeah, and you just kind of moved on.
Right.
But we weren't really
Ate
so
some pizza.
scared of it. But now it's a different ballpark because it's so
Right,
much stronger,
right,
and the
right.
levels of everything is just a lot different. But yeah, no, and I've seen a lot of the smuggling, a lot of packages and things shoved in places they shouldn't be.
You had to remove packages out of people.
Yes, and that's the scary thing, because the last one that I had was like a 1/4 ounce bag of meth. So if you're looking at me here, it was like about this big. You know, it's like a folded up Ziploc bag that was shoved up a hoo-ha.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So she was in the passenger seat, and dude driving was running from the police, and he's like, "Here, shove
okay.
it," you know. So she just shoves it up there. But the crazy thing there is, if the bag busts in
she's
that
dead.
situation, you're dead. There's absolutely nothing that I can do to save you. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's straight OD.
Yeah, because it's straight through the bloodstream, skips
Yeah,
everything, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm like talking to her, and I'm like, "Don't move," like. You know, I've got my forceps like wrapped in gauze, and I'm like going in there, like squirting lube around it, like trying to weasel this thing out. I'm like, don't move, like, you know. But I got it out. She was fine. Then she went to jail, so it was a good day.
This was a good day.
So you have to call the police.
Well, no. So the police brought her in that situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Pulled
they're-
over at a traffic stop.
Yeah. Well, they were
okay.
running from the
Okay,
cops,
okay.
and then she
So
went
if that happens and the police weren't involved, would you have to call the police?
No, actually, I wouldn't. There's a doctor-patient confidentiality, and
Oh,
unless
okay.
you are threatening me or threatening my staff, I'm not really going to get them involved. Now, you know, if you're like coming in and saying you're going to hurt yourself, you're going to hurt somebody, then in those situations, I have to step out and get somebody else involved. But, you know, if you come in and you're like, I just shot up 5 grams of meth, I'd be like, cool, let's get you calmed down. Let's give you some fluids. Like, I'm not going to call the police. No, there's I don't play that way. Like,
Yeah.
Like I said, unless it's something that I have to do.
Go
in
to
that
the ER.
situation.
Don't be an asshole. You won't get in trouble.
Right. And sometimes I let breaks go. Like I had a little lady the other day that came in and, she had some symptoms and I did a drug screen and then, she's on probation. I know she's on probation. She's a freaking flyer and I see math. And I'm like looking at her like, do you want to go back to jail? You know what I mean? Like I could write this on your chart right now. And if anybody sees it, you're going back to jail. I was like, but I'm going to warn you, and if I see you again and you do this, I'm going to write it in your chart. But today I'm going to let you go. You know what I mean? So you have those situations.
Try to give them a little helping hand.
Right, you try to give them
the
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody's perfect. We all have mistakes, but
we all make our faults.
right. You try to be as best as you can.
Absolutely.
Jason, yes, he is out, but he's not back. What's up, Tommy? Okay, one last question.
Mm-hmm.
One last question. Okay. I want to hear about the wildest night you had in the ER.
The wildest night, as in like trauma, as in like numbers.
You're just like, oh
Full
my God.
like full moon
Is
Monte.
this night ever going to end?
That's fair.
Yeah. Because it's like, oh my God, one right after the other is like,
Yeah.
man.
I would have to say, I'm trying to think.
Think about it for a second.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. I know the night because it wasn't just work, but it was like the whole drive home and the whole night in general. The worst shift to work in the ER is 11 to 11. Okay. Normally you're a 7 to 7 guy. You like get there in the morning and you leave at 7 o'clock, or you work 7 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. But sometimes there's the mid shift, which is the 11 to 11. And the reason the 11 to 11 sucks is because nobody wants to go to the ER before 11 o'clock. Like, right? So it's like 7, 8. It's only like the grandpas with like heart attacks or shortness of breath or somebody wanting to skip work, but around 11 o'clock is lunchtime and everybody's like, oh, I feel like I need to go to the doctor. So like 11 to 11 o'clock at night is the busiest shift in the ER because when you leave at 11, it's still shit. Like it doesn't get cleaned out until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So first off, it was the 11 to 11 shift. I was in Miami, so it was just brutal. I saw like, I want to say 60 plus patients in a 12-hour shift. So it was a very, very busy shift. But the reason that it kind of was so awful is you have high level of care ones, some that like chest tube, I'm intubating this one, I'm on to the next one, and then I felt like every time I walked out of a room I was doing another procedure that, sometimes you walk in and you I'm going to order some labs, I'm going to get an x-ray, and then you're on to the next patient. But sometimes you're like, I've got to do this, I've got to, do this, start these lines, give this man. So it was a lot of really sick patients. And then it was I want to say it was like the George Floyd riots.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So it was that night, right? So in Miami that night, there's 5 bridges that connect Miami Beach to Miami City. So I'm in Miami City. We have more of the hospitals. There's no real hospitals on Miami Beach. There's like, a place where they deliver babies. There's a place where they do plastic surgeries, but there's no real like emergency room. But there's 5 bridges. Well, they blocked off 4 of the bridges. And so it was like EMSs were on divert for like an hour and 45 minutes to get them to the hospital because of the way they had to like drive all the way around. And it was a madness night in the ER of just all of this crap. And then when I go to get off at 11 o'clock, they have the highway blocked. And I'm one of those that always carry, so I'm not like one to play around. And I'm going to get on the interstate, and there's like a whole bunch of people in front of my car, and I'm just sitting there, and I give them some time. I wait like 15, 20 minutes, and I'm like, okay, the majority of the crowd is kind of like lingered on down the interstate, and this guy's like 2 white Antifa little kids with baseball bats in front of my car, just kind of standing there and still waiting, like not letting me pass. The people behind me are getting pissed, like blowing their horn. I can't back up, you know what I mean? People are behind me, and so I'm like just pissed. Another 10 minutes go by and they still haven't moved, and they're talking on their phone, and I lean out and I'm like, hey, like guys, I'm like a doctor, like I'm trying to go home, like I've been at work all day, can you just let me through? You know what I mean?
And they're like, fuck you.
Literally word for word. Word for word.
I can see it.
And at this point I'm just pissed, and so I'm like, all right, like here's my 45, like let's rack one and shine the light. And then they dive like cockroaches, and I just go in first, and I'm gone, and I was like out of there, and it was just, but it was just the worst night because from start to finish I didn't stop. You know, you had all of the hoopla going on, all of the delayed EMS, and then the shit show on the way home. I think that was probably my worst night, just because the volume, too. When you see 60 patients in a 12-hour shift, it's like, I'm in for 10, 15 minutes, and I'm in for 15 minutes, and I'm in for 15 minutes, and, you know, you're just turning and burning, as I like to call it. So it was just a brutal night, and I was so glad to get out of Miami because the volume that I see up here is a lot less, and, you know, you get paid the same, so why would I be in
Look at
someplace
all
that
that.
doesn't?
Look at all that valuable experience you got.
It was
and all that
great.
stuff
I
you learned.
will say it definitely helped me, because when you come back out and come out to places like this and you see some of the other docs that didn't go to big places, and you're like, dude, like, and they'll call you and they'll be like, hey, I've got this. What would you do? And I'm like, bro, you're a doctor. Like, why are you asking me? Like, hey, go do your own thing. But it happens. It happens. But I mean, they trust you, and so you know, some of us are better at procedures and things. That's the big thing about the ER. I think that most people don't get is it's more, how good can I intubate you? How well can I place a chest tube or a central line or one of those procedures that's going to save you? I'm normally better at than the guy that works on the floor, who's probably better at treating kidney disease and hypertension than I am. You know, I'm just like, go 2-3 main drugs that I use, and then everything else, I'm like, I'll let the specialist handle it.
Right.
What's the most gruesome injury you've seen?
That's good. That's
Gruesome. A chainsaw. It was a chainsaw accident.
Yeah.
It's always chainsaws. Well, I take that back. There's two, and one is gruesome for a completely different reason. The chainsaw was probably the most like Saving Private Ryan moment I ever had, because the guy walked in, and we always make the joke of like EMS versus walk-ins, and like normally your walk-ins are just, you know, you're casual. I sprained my ankle or this, that, and the other, but once in a while you'll get a crazy walk-in that's just like, whoa. Holy shit. And so it was Grandpa, and Grandpa was cutting a tree with a chainsaw, and he was like cutting limbs, and you know, he had the ladder, and you know, propped it up and the whole 9 yards, and when he cut the tree limb fell, kicked the ladder out, and he just chainsawed right across his belly. And so, you know, I've seen wounds, I've sewed many wounds, and you know, abdominal wounds, leg wounds, you know, wherever, it doesn't matter. But when you see a patient walk in, you're like, oh, okay, he's walking, he's talking, and I can get to him in a minute. You know what I mean? He's got a big towel wrapped around. I see a little bit of blood, but it's not like drastic. So I'm like, all right, stick him in triage, and we'll pull it off, and we'll look at it. And so I put him in triage, which is like, triage is the area where you determine how bad they are. You know, you take some vitals, you take some blood pressure, you look at whatever it is, and like, oh, he can go to room 1 because it's some serious shit, or oh, he can go to 7, or, you know, put him back on the waiting room. We'll get there in a minute. And so I'm like, all right, Pops. And it was this older guy. And I'm like, pull back the towel. And he's like, no. And I'm like, no, I'm the doctor. Like, I got to see. And he goes, okay. And he pulls back the towel, and his guts are literally hanging out, like Saving Private Ryan. Like, just like over the belt line, like just out. And I'm like, whoa, 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 you know, shoving it back in, like, get the stretcher, let's go to 1. Yeah. You know, screaming bloody murder, because it was hanging out there, man. And, you know, in those situations, you just lather it up with fluids, you soak it down, you put a big abdominal pad on, strap it down, and you call surgery as fast as you can. Throw some blood on it, because I'm not sewing that one up. That one's gonna have what we call a washout.
Oh yeah,
you know. So
was he a boomer?
Yes,
that's the
yes.
difference.
Yep, you're 110% right.
Boomer.
110% right. Because the second one I was gonna tell you about was a boomer as well, and this one was really recent. Yeah, and he was you know, late 70s, early 80s, working on his farm. You know, classic story. And he's got a chainsaw, and he's cutting a fence line, but the fence is on a hill, right? So he's on the side of the fence towards the hillside, and he's cutting the tree limbs and stuff off, and he tumbles down the hill. Chainsaw doesn't get him. He throws the chainsaw off to the side. Chainsaw doesn't get him at all. He comes in, and he's walking and talking, and his wife's with him, and he's just there because he's got a little cut above his eye, just a little cut, you know, right there above the eyelid. And, you know, I'm doing my whole exam. Everything's fine. Eye moves in all directions. And I'm just pissed because I hate sewing eyes. Like, eyes are a bitch. Like, you have to use silk suture, and it's a pain in the ass. And I just really don't like to do it. And so I was more just pissed because I was like, oh, I got to sew an eye, and I don't want to do it. But anyways, I'm like, oh, he's on blood thinners. Let's CT his head, make sure everything's okay. Like, the eye moves in all directions. Like, I know he didn't bust anything in the eye, but let's just check it out anyway. And so we scan him, and sure enough, he has a 4-inch stick inside of the left lobe of his brain. It literally punched a hole, shot through the eye and into the brain. And he's just talking to me, man, just like, yeah, I'm good.
Boomers
fine.
are tough
tanks, man. Tank.
Yeah, they don't make them like that no more.
Tank. Like his wife was like, I thought I saw a stick in there, and I was like, no, you didn't. Like, no, you didn't, but you did. It was there.
Gen X's could handle 2-inch sticks.
Yeah. It was wild though, but like you said, it's the boomers, man.
Yeah.
They're the ones. They're the ones that wait until they've had a stroke for like a week, and they're like, "Yeah, I probably need to go to the doctor."
Right.
Like, you got like 4 hours for me to save you.
Yeah.
I don't know why the corner of my mouth won't raise up and I keep drooling on myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Something's wrong, Martha.
Right.
Let's go.
That's it. That's it.
Give me some Tylenol.
Right.
We got any bear aspirin?
Yeah,
Right.
Vicks Vapor Rub.
Give me some of that tussin.
Yeah,
Need some tussin to drink. I feel better.
you got it. I mean, it is a different quality of patient,
It
man.
is.
They are
Yeah,
totally
100%,
different. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So my wife says, best one yet. The best one yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So we appreciate you coming, man.
Thank you guys. It was such a pleasure, man.
It was a good
Yep,
one.
yep. Get out of the house.
We will definitely have you back.
For
man.
sure. Anytime I live right down the
I'm
road.
sure there's plenty of stories.
Oh, I got a list. I didn't even get to some of the good ones that the wife told me to keep in the bag.
Yeah,
Save them.
Yeah, we'll have another round.
Yeah. We'll definitely have you back, man.
For sure.
So that was good stuff, man. That was
Thank
good
you, guys.
stuff. Yeah,
I
appreciate it.
man.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So
All right, man. Let's wrap it.
let's wrap it up. I
Let's
gotta
wrap
get to
it
the.
up.
I gotta get to the.
I gotta eat and get some food in my
Me
stuff
too,
before I drink
man.
Fireball tonight.
Yeah, Lisa's got jambalaya and beans and rice waiting on me.
That's my wife's favorite. She's from Louisiana.
Yeah.
Family is.
Yeah. So once again, appreciate you coming.
Thank you guys for having me.
And
I
we will
really
have you
appreciate it.
back.
Anytime.
Yeah. Peace out, suckers.
Absolutely.
Peace out, baby.
Peace out.